Gonna be live. Yeah.
So you can see live comments, obviously, in the comment thing, and then they'll feed in from YouTube there.
We're flying. Okay.
We're flying, man.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the very first. Do you like what I named it? I called it the Startup Stand-Up.
Where is it? Oh, I do like that. That's catchy.
Oh my God.
Wait,
Welcome
Evan,
to the
hold
very
on.
good for
What I
SEO.
named it, I called it the Startup Stand-Up.
Oh, I think it's me.
Where is
Hang
it?
on.
Oh, I do like that. That's
This is
catchy.
weird.
Don't fret. I think it was me. If you're watching it on YouTube, you're gonna get a double feedback.
Oh, I do like that. That's catchy.
Okay.
First time.
Yeah.
Okay, I had it open
Somebody
too.
just said, "Oh my God!" again, and I was like, "Oh, Evan's repeating himself."
Evan, we have forgotten a very important piece of
Oh,
live
no.
streaming.
Oh my
You
God.
already know what it is. And there we go.
I can't hear it. Can you hear it? Oh,
Yeah.
now I can hear it. Yeah. Well,
That's-
for everybody watching, this is Alex is a background music maxi.
I'm a
My
night driving
co-founder
man.
and colleague.
There's only one
Yeah.
option. Night driving. It's night driving or you're wrong.
Night driving or you're wrong. Do one of you guys want to lay the table for this, or do you want me to give a real quick 15-second before we just, because we're really here to have a meeting, but might be nice to give people a table setting.
One of
Yeah.
one of you can send it. I'm grabbing my pour over.
I can do
Yes,
it. So hey guys, if you're watching, we just decided, we talk a lot, Alex, Evan, and I. Obviously, we have more members on the team, but this is the kind of get the day started, discuss important things that we're doing and what we're trying to do to not only navigate this bear market, but thrive. Make ourselves better. To be fully transparent, we just thought of this as a way to kind of let people in and see what the decision-making process looks like for us. Because, sometimes being a startup is great and sometimes it's tough. And I think we have a really unique voice and approach to a lot of this stuff. So we figured, why not just share this with everyone and, see what people think. If you want to weigh in, feel free. If not, we're here to just kind of discuss all the things that we have going and make decisions so that maybe in the future, a year, 5 years, 10 years down the road, we can look back and say, wow, this is the moment where everything changed.
And we're doing it warts and all.
To have these to look back on, to be honest. I was thinking about that while I was driving in. I'm just like, dude, even if literally no one except for the three of us ever watches any of this shit, I'm so stoked to, like, in 10 years have this, be able to look back on and have that video diary of all our special time.
Yeah, at that time, Alex was making a pour over on our meeting, or I was streaming from a kitchen in an Airbnb in Manistee. I'm next to a literal stove with some oven mitts in the background.
Yeah,
and,
if I unblur myself, then you can really see the detritus that is my my living situation for 5 days.
Do you have a doorknob on that door behind you, Mack? That's
do you have a door yet?
On all of our minds.
Stay tuned.
No,
he doesn't.
Still
That
no
is
doorknob.
Door handle.
It's like when you reveal your NFT and it's just a rug.
Yeah, I didn't want to decorate. There's no decorations in the wall here. It's just bad. It's been temporary since we moved in, so we wanted to get the hell out, and we're almost there. We've got a house coming up on Saturday, so that'll be exciting. Which also means we kind of need to pack this week, but I'll be as dialed in as I can. But
how weirded out was your realtor when you and Amber walked in and you were like, "Oh, nice doorknobs, nice."
Yeah. She no, we didn't let that one slip.
Real quick before we get into it, I wanted to say hi to Neil, and I wanted to say, if you're watching this now or in the future, you don't know who we are. We're a company building the future of the internet experiences so that everyday people can enjoy blockchain, AI, Web3, NFTs, stuff like that. We consult, we build communities, and we're trying to, figure out all the different pieces of the puzzle so folks like you, wherever you are, whenever you listen, can enjoy this kind of tech. And if you're just watching because you're interested in startups, then welcome behind the curtain. We're a 7-figure pre-seed company working mostly in Web3 and blockchain. And like I say, we'll have a 10-minute version of this. Thank you.
Oh, that was
clean, right?
Give me a bumper sticker for that.
What? That says 7-figure pre-seed company.
Alex.
I couldn't resist. It got me going.
7-figure pre-seed company, and we don't have doorknobs, but stay tuned.
Doorknobs are on Saturday.
we're going to have a 10-minute version of this, like kind of at the end, we're going to take some notes. So if you don't have time for this kind of thing, tune in later, you'll get the recap. But for now, you guys just want to head into the meeting?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm anxious.
Let's do it, because we've had enough preamble, and I think we should jump in. You want to talk about Rose Holman, because that's kind of where we were before we recorded, and I wanted to hear more about that.
So
okay,
yeah, I think that it's important to keep in, because we've got a few fires in the oven now, and I kind of wanted to go through them like module by module. Of course, fires in the oven is not necessarily a good thing, so I don't know if I would necessarily say that again. But we have Rose Holman, which is the university. That's like the Shoup wing. So Shoup is the platform that we're about to build. We have the video game that we just finished the MVP, so we got to figure out how to market that and get feedback on that. We have TFM and Corrupted, so that's basically 4, and then we have everything else with the Founders Forge.
Yeah, I got to market the book.
Have you guys gotten to any of those YC videos yet? Because they're you have. Okay.
Yeah, I just watched I watched 2 of them. I watched that first one with Ed Friedman, and thought it was great. Thought it was super helpful.
Guy. Yeah.
Yep. And they also, pro tip, they have them as podcasts. We're talking about Y Combinator. If you just Google Y Combinator, you can find them, like Startup School kind of thing. I listened to his. I didn't sit down and write down the assignment. What's every problem you could have solved from all your jobs? Yeah. I thought about it a little. And then I watched another one that was like healthy habits for founders, lifestyle stuff. They got some great ones though.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my way through the rest of them, but yeah, it's pretty good. It was getting the juices flowing, and I think that it's important as we continue to go forward. Alex, I know you and I have kind of talked and nerded out and been like, running a gaming company would be so fun.
Oh my God. I can't imagine anything cooler, to be honest.
Okay, but here's the thing. Like, when we started this whole thing, it was the whole financial revolution, right? And I still think we're after that. And I don't know. I just I've been thinking a lot, and it's like, I still want to kind of stick to that value.
The thing that I always come back to is I don't want you to don't feel like we're getting away from that, because that's always been like the destination. But you got to change the vehicle a few times.
Yeah.
I think that what we're doing right now, and something we're really good at doing, is experimenting with different methods of delivery.
Yeah.
We've experimented with a bunch of different stuff, and right now the thing that's resonating with people is kind of this gaming adventure as a potential vehicle to deliver education, personal autonomy and sovereignty without even really realizing what you're doing. And I think that's what Web3 is kind of missing. It's so on the nose and in your face all the time that you have to be a Web3 Max instead of just getting to live your life and enjoy the technology without having to feel like you're in a cult every time you want to talk to someone in your family who's not into it about it. It feels weird.
And I've been saying lately, Mac, when I tell people about Faceless Labs, I do feel a little like the financial piece pigeonholes us when what we do is broader. I tend to find myself saying to people, we are a company building the future of the internet. We create experiences like games. I see it as not just a gaming company, but we're a storytelling company. We're a gaming company. We're an educational company. We are a consultancy. We do all these different things so that if you've never heard of NFTs or the metaverse or whatever before, we've got something you can try today, right now. And if you're not even into tech, read this book or come watch one of our videos and just see that we're, you know what I mean? I get that. The picture of it.
I feel like we're kind of doing it in reverse to a lot of super successful companies. A lot of them start out as a one-trick pony, and then they build up to have this kind of conglomerate. And I feel like not lately, but just the way it's been, because there's so many different ways to kind of try and test and see what people are into. It's kind of like we're doing that in reverse, where we're like, okay, here's 40 different things. Which one do you like? And then maybe we narrow down from there. But I don't know. It's nothing bad. I'm still into the whole testing out different things, because that's just what we have to do, But I just wanted to kind of reiterate that, because the whole point of the mission statement is to have it be forefront, top of the mind. It doesn't necessarily have to be the financial revolution. I agree, because AI, I think, is a lot more empowering, and saving of time and energy. So. All that
money is like a really good driver to motivate someone to change something. And right now I think a lot of people are in a position where they're unsatisfied with the way that money has just sort of worked for all of us. You know, I mean, that's kind of like, I think that's why most of us are interested in crypto, unless you're, you know, a fan of gambling. It's just that, hey, I don't need to like become super rich. Just kind of want to control my own stuff, because I'm really starting to learn more about how it's handled for me by people who, you know, purport to be in our corner. At least that's why I'm here. Yeah. So if that's the end goal of what is the financial revolution, to me, it's not everyone is filthy rich so much as it's everyone has autonomy and control over their own stuff and just gets to do with it what they want without.
Is that what I'm hearing from you, Mac, though? That it's like because I feel a disconnect in terms of that's not all we do, and our mission, it's supposed to be this big umbrella thing that catches all of it.
You know what it is? When I was watching these videos, right? When I was watching the YC video, he was talking about a lot of companies or a lot of founders that were in our similar position where, you know, it's people who have a lot of domain expertise. They are close and, you know, trust each other, but they pivoted, or they found different things that they're like, okay, maybe this is a better way to go.
Sure.
And unsexy was the way a lot of them went, and that kind of made them successful. And I think that a lot of us, especially us three, are very like purpose-driven people. You know, like when I was selling software, I sucked at it. But then when I started selling pianos, I was selling $1.5 million, you know, $2 million of pianos a year, because I was fucking great at it, because I loved it. You know, I think we're all just people who like to really focus on doing what we love. Which makes me barf a little bit because of the artist that we had a run-in with recently.
I missed it. It went over my head for a minute.
Oh yeah. I don't know. So I'm not saying we need to change anything. I'm just thinking out loud that we, you know, I wonder if there's something that is potentially less sexy that could be more, you know, beneficial for the long run for us, because we do tend to go towards the sexy stuff, the games, the NFTs, the stories, the books, you know, just something to put on your guys' radar.
I mean, it's super necessary, I would say, with, you know, who we are and what we do, to keep all that stuff, you know, keep reminding yourself of it, but to also give yourself room to move and flex if something's not a hit, which is, I think, kind of what we're doing.
Well,
you know?
And I think our problem until now is like you said, we got a lot of fires. And I've been saying to everyone lately, I feel like just now we're getting to a place where all these fires are kind of starting to get some flames on their own. And they're also starting to connect to each other. Like Shoup, you know, the Rose Holman thing, that's like going to add a lot of fuel to that fire. Or the MVP, plus talking about the book. And now the NFTs for Founders Forge are ready. Plus we've got maybe a kit or two to get a micro grant. Like that fire's kind of cooking.
Yeah.
You know, like everything's kind of coming together. The Rev Point stuff will continue to expand as those things continue to expand, and that'll be cooking. So I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. I feel like we have until now been kind of a problem in search of a solution, and we had a great solution at first, and then some things didn't go so well in terms of, like, you know, our revenue and our runway because of how the market worked out. But I don't know. I think I'm not worried yet. I think we've got some really great products to throw for people to get feedback on, and we're going to get some help in the form of not just their feedback, but maybe some other builders too, to help us advance these things and put them in front of people, possibly attract some more money, some funding, some yada, yada, yada. I feel good about it.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that we've always lacked is like a core team member who's a developer.
Yeah. So if you're a dev and you're watching and you want to join a startup that's got really great ideas and works hard at executing them, then you can come talk to us.
Yeah. Well, the exciting thing, I mean, Willem obviously is incredible. And we've worked with good devs.
Well, so are all the guys, but they got stuff to do.
Yeah, but they got their own stuff on the side. So Rose Holman then.
Yeah, talk about Rose Holman.
Is there anything else that you know, that you want to share? Basically, do you know any more about the situation, Alex?
Yeah, and tell me like I'm 5. They emailed us and basically said somebody pick Shoup as their project to work on.
Yep. So we have a team of 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals.
Oh shit!
What do we know about them?
We got 4 devs.
Yeah.
What are they like? Is one of them female by chance?
Yeah, did we get to interview him and say yes or no?
Our first female team member?
I'm not sure. It looks like at least three men, and then I'm not sure.
Well, you got like a Taylor or an Alex in there.
I don't want to out them right now on the.
Welcome.
All right, leaving their names aside, there are 4 of them, and basically this email that I just mentioned to you guys, so it was sent us to indicate that this team has selected our project Shoup for their senior capstone project.
Awesome.
So they laid out a few basic details in the email about what to expect and what we should bring and what we should have kind of available for them. And something, just for the record, that we did put into the application that we made sure was made aware to Rose-Hulman, the Institute, and also to the students, was that we don't know that the project is going to, at the end, look exactly like what went onto the application, that there's room for flexibility depending on which features end up being the most popular, which features may end up not being super popular. And so the one thing that we could guarantee is that these students would get hands-on experience inside a live functioning, flexing startup company in a new emerging technology space within the tech sector, and that is not an experience that you can get in any other way other than starting your own company, and they get to do that without any of the risk.
Wow. In this email, it says the project needs to be scoped for about 1,400 to 1,600 hours of work.
Yep.
Wow.
No problem.
Which seems like a lot, but both the two of you sit down, try to imagine right now how many hours we've put into Faceless just in the last year or in the last 9 months.
I mean, 10 weeks of full-time, like 40-hour-a-week work, that's 400 hours right there. And,
Yeah.
and so you're talking like that's like half a year of full-time work.
Yeah.
And we probably, I don't know, I'm sure you guys do too, but I'm ahead of that schedule, you know?
Yes.
Let me look at this. How
So-
cool.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm very excited.
Yeah. So anyway, then they go into a couple details just about IP and NDAs, because we had indicated that this project required both of those things, and sent us some paperwork, and then officially put all of us into the same email thread. So we'll kind of keep some comms going with everyone. We also have a student advisor who is like the student's point of contact. And then we will also work with them a little bit in the beginning to kind of get the ball rolling.
So do we not start then until the fall, till like September or something like that?
That's
No, but
kinda
it
what
sounds like we
looks
really need to involve them in communication now
Yeah.
and
we need
get
to
a
start
dialogue
now,
going.
but the work starts in the fall. Yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
All right.
So it might be good for all of us to reply to this and just introduce ourselves, and maybe, or maybe even just one of us reply.
Yeah.
Might be fun for all of us too, but for one of us to at least say, and then maybe we can invite him to a meeting in the future.
I was
What
I
do
was
you
going to suggest that I will reply to this one, and then we get them into a more efficient manner of speaking, because having what's that, 8 people or 7
Yeah.
people in one email thread just going to get too confusing.
But it might be nice for Tracy, who probably doesn't want to come to our meetings, but is their advisor, at least at first, to have some kind of, I don't know if it's Discord, I don't know what, but somewhere that they can keep tabs on the students or keep tabs on us. Maybe we can ask her that in your email.
That's I'll ask that. It sort of indicates here with looking at this that she would like some sort of comms in this email thread for the first few weeks, is sort of the vibe that I got from this.
Cool.
How
All right, that's
cool.
very cool. That's very exciting.
Dude, I was geeking out about it all night. It's so funny. I like hung up the meeting yesterday and got this email like 20 minutes later, and then spoke to Mack, and I was just like, oh, hey, by the way, Rose-Hulman picked Shoup. And
So cool.
it still hasn't fully sunk in, but like if I was to pick like one of the 3 applications that we put in, like which one do I want them to pick up the most? It was this one. Like far and away, it was this one.
It's the one that needs the most too.
Yeah.
I think.
It's
yeah,
also the
definitely.
most like, it's the easiest to understand. You know,
Do you think? Hey, by the way, the ICP community conference is today and tomorrow. Daniel said he could get me in, so I might pop in and.
You should.
I'm picturing like an Ocean's 11 montage where he meets you at like a fence and you put on
Yeah.
some nerd glasses and suspenders and like hop in. Hey
Yeah.
guys, it's me.
it's ICP, so it's definitely suspenders and a bow tie kind of event.
Well, if you go to, it's not the ICP official Definity thing. It's like the community thing.
That could be the way to get in though, with their people building.
Yeah. Sure. I definitely want to talk to them, but that begs the question with Shoup, do we want to still pursue that as an ICP thing?
I would say so, because now there's even more legs on it. I feel like it's a lot more. Plus, if I was thinking, that's a good point, because if ICP was concerned, for those listening, we're talking about applying for grant funding and assistance from a blockchain who actually wants their builders to build stuff. Go figure.
Yeah.
I think that this would help significantly in the arena of being able to like provide deliverables, because we also have an institution like on the side, right? Because so our original point of contact that led us even to exploring this Rose-Hulman thing in the first place basically told us that if you can get in the door and you can create something that's appealing enough that these student teams pick it up, Rose-Hulman is of course interested in supporting what their students are doing. And so you're sort of entering into a relationship with the entire university, who of course wants to support the students and see them succeed.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting stuff in here about, like getting users and all that sort of stuff. I think we can help the students out tremendously just with the strength of the TFM community, getting users onto a platform to test out and give them like real data. Like that's a wildly cool thing that they don't have to super worry about. Kind of help get it rolling. I think someone like ICP, based on what we've heard from their grant process, would probably be super interested in seeing like more concrete milestones and checkpoints.
Well, we need developers to build that out anyway, so now we have
yeah
exactly. Okay, cool. All right, well then
I think you should go if you can, Mac.
I'll go. And then we got Bitcoin Miami this week too as well. So do you remember Pat from BMC, or the Bitcoin Miners Club?
He texted me last night after you guys talked.
He texted you?
Yeah. He was just asking if I was going to be able. He knows I'm in Savannah, so he was asking if I was going to be able to make it down, and I said, unfortunately, not this week. But
you say, dude, you're welcome if you want to take a drive.
I want to, but I've got way too much shit this week. We've got all kinds of stuff at Jordan's school. This is the last week of the school year, so there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh wow! And then the summer break, the beloved. Good for you, dude.
So can't wait.
Yay. All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna. I was telling Alex, Evan has left. Anyways,
I'm listening. I was just getting coffee. You're
okay. I was just telling that I had a really good talk with him, and they are a company that's kind of similar to us, except for they didn't keep their treasury in equal the whole time. But they are they're making moves towards AI as well. So I want to talk to him, and he also knows some. He apparently knows some people, some brothers that were like chain analysts for whatever capacity, and they just got $1 million, or they didn't get it, but they're just about to get close to $1 million in funding. And I was like, for a business or just in the interest of making more money? And he's like, yeah, that. So, okay.
Interesting.
So not sure if they're going to be in Miami or not, but being in Miami certainly has its perks. So I want to probably go to the ICP thing tomorrow, and then later in the week I'll check out the Bitcoin, maxi stuff and see who I can rub elbows with. But yeah, I think the term of events. So we can respond to the email, let them know, hey, we're all here, happy to set up, and just kind of keep that. Keep like the plans where they are, and then still keep most of our focus on Founders Forge right now. Right? Yeah,
I feel like we should talk about that next. The game MVP, how we're going to push it out.
Definitely. But are we cool with that plan for Shoup and everything with the people? Just kind of respond and just keep that on ice until we're ready to go full throttle on it.
Yeah, I definitely want to set up a meeting before too long, just to like get everyone on video introduced to each other and make sure they see faces. I'll take a look at this, the paperwork that she sent, and just see if we need any additional information. Okay. And then kind of get the ball rolling there. And then I figure it'll probably be a lot to bring, like, to try to combine all these to the 2 weekly meetings. So I didn't know if we wanted to repurpose one of the Monday or Thursdays to kind of become this
about the Shoup stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to, but I don't think we're there yet.
No, not like next week or anything, but you know, just because there's the expectation that we meet with the students for, you know, they suggested weekly.
Oh, got it. With
So just
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of, you know, just making like a third weekly slot or whatever, I figure we can probably.
Hey, that's a good point by Neil too. ICP isn't the only one offering money to have people build.
Yeah, I saw that. Their specifically Scale is doing blockchain games.
Yeah.
Or
I've
for play to
worked
earn is
Scale
what they're
before.
doing.
I know the.
Oh, you have?
Scale. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like
that might be worth asking for Corrupted about, just because we have a lot more like already kind of figured out in there, and it's more like the Corrupted project is packaging what's there, because there's an engine, there's mechanics, there's a ton of math, there's already an XP system. It just needs to be bundled up and handed politely to players with a free to play option. So that one's a lot more ready for a group like Scale to potentially have more they could like look at and already get some user data and stuff, which I think is something that will definitely work in our
big time
in our favor.
Yeah, and I did want to bring this up. I know someone responded to it, but you know, I'm an advisor for Kavari, and so I talk in a Telegram chat with Ryan, and like, I don't know if you saw this, but Ryan he's the CEO of Kavari, and he made this big thread yesterday about how he doesn't get any support from Multiverse X. They don't do any funding, and
community,
it was
too.
Yeah,
well, community too, but he called everybody out, and it was not you know, too harsh. It was well reasoned, and I was caught off guard by it because he hadn't said anything in our chat. Like earlier, he was talking about shipping the next update, and then he comes out with this.
That's wild.
So I think it was
just
a pretty
for the record,
emotional.
that's wild.
Well, it's wild, but I think it was probably a pretty, you know, maybe some tumult, some emotion. But Neil's point, I think, is good. He wants some time and to sit back and like chill with his people. But I think he is awesome at what he does, and he's like the hardest worker. He is always just coding, shipping code. Yeah, dude. Yeah. He built.
What is it with
pretty
these
much
unhinged developers, dude? The same thing happened with Mario.
No, listen, Ryan is not unhinged. Ryan is an experienced founder with exits.
Did we have Ryan on the podcast?
Yeah, dude. We had you were. Was it you and me, Mack, or was it you and me, Alex?
No, it was me and you.
Yeah, okay. And he's legit, man. And he's a monster in terms of he built basically YouTube, but it's decentralized on the blockchain on Multiverse X. Like he built that.
The only reason I said that is just because I find it so strange that even the people in the, you know, on the team were completely caught off guard.
That's my
imagine if one day I was like, guys.
Well, and I'm not on the team. I'm sure the people on the team got it better. And I didn't hear his AMA where it was unrecorded. You know, the advisors are like, you know how it is. It's like the cadre or something. We make a decision and then they come to us and tell us about it later. So I had reached out to him just to express support and let him know, hey brother, here for you. Neil says the space is eye-opening, but I thought that eventually, you know, not that I want to just poach him to have him work, but he is absolutely somebody who has he's built cool stuff. He has great potential, and he would be the kind of guy that probably when he was less shy would love something like Show him, and maybe could even come in and would just give us some feedback or help us guide some, you know, some students or something. So just keep it on your radar. And if you see him, maybe send him a message, let him know.
Why don't you?
And let Multiverse X know that
you should definitely be the
you're the warmest.
Yeah, no. I mean, but if you see him around, just so you know who he is, like he deserves our support, and the whole team does. It's a big L.
Hey, Multiverse X sucks. We're aligned on that one.
Yeah, dude. I just mean, like, it was he made some really good points about like all these other blockchains spend a ton of money and effort and attention supporting developers who are building on their protocols. Yeah. Where is that for us? And I don't know. I thought it was a good message for him to hear. He is American, but his project, while not supported and championed so much by the blockchain, it's like everybody in the community, even the Romanian community, recognize it as like, you know, this is what MVX should be used for.
I mean, he was very well spoken. I had no I had no issues. I thought he was a great episode. But
the space today is rife with developers who don't really know how to navigate social arenas, I think.
Well, to Neil's point, it's a strange world where, you know, we talked about this with regards to NFT projects in general. Like, why did so many crumble in spectacular fashion? And it's because, you know, what set us apart with launching TFM from everyone else? We had a team of 10 people, and obviously that came up as a pain point in our most recent Twitter debacle with Dingleberry. But you know, he's
tune into that shit because I know it's gonna get me hot and bothered.
Don't
waste your time on it, man.
Yeah. The cliff notes are that he's really mad that we got paid. Because it turns out is very opposed to people getting paid for their work, and tried to tell me that no business owners ever earned money. But anyway, God damn it. Yeah,
you're talking about working with good people. You lost it.
Whatever. Don't
fret. Listen. Don't fret.
Just that. To Neil's point there, we had so many people who were developers that had the skill to do this thing, who then got thrust into this like public relations role, coupled with business owner role, coupled with CEO role, coupled with you know, HR. All of these things, they were tried to do it, and that's just not what they were interested in doing. And then obviously it's no surprise that things didn't quite go that way. Like, if you can't reach out of your circle, admit like this, these are all my areas of weakness. I need someone that can fill this gap and do this thing for me.
But man, Ryan did that. He built a great team. He built a team and the infrastructure to allow him to do what he did. And he had great marketing folks. He had funding. He had advisors. Vanessa's one of his advisors. And, you know, she was in there like every day being like, I've tested all the aspects of your product and here are, you know, 10 suggestions. And he would just like ship them. I don't know. He was not a failure. Impressive. Anyway, all that to say, we keep him in the back of your mind.
Okay.
And say a little prayer for him.
It says a lot that when he wrote that, all of us read it and we're like, I can relate to pretty much everything that you just said here, because I still vividly remember the day that it clicked for me that the Multiverse X team wasn't as interested as they should be in supporting people building stuff, unless it was like, for some reason, the thing that they were personally into. Because the deal that we offered them to just represent them at a project or at multiple conferences and do whatever, like we were on the circuit, whatever. I'll never forget. They literally told us to mind our own business.
Yeah.
We're like, this is our business. This is literally our business. Like, we're in this together, aren't we? Aren't we doing this thing together? Like, what a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
So, I can commiserate with him on that 100%.
Okay. Talk to me about this game MVP.
Ooh, yes. So we've got a really, really cool, I'm becoming more comfortable with the idea of what an MVP is supposed to be. I've never done this MVP thing before, but Michael and Kaio have done it before, and they were both saying on the meeting as we were looking at it that if you're not a little bit ashamed of your MVP, you did it wrong. You spent too much time on it. And shame is not the right word, but there are so many ways that I'm excited to take it and things that I like wish we could put in this. And the more I do that, the more I'm like, I just want to ship the entire game. But what we've got is, I think, the ultimate Costco sampler platter of things that you can sort of expect that this could go. And it's very much in line with the way that the Syndicate Games is working, where we are more than anything excited to get people in there, get them to play it. You will not, this is a challenge, this is a direct challenge. You will not finish it immediately. It will not be over in a couple minutes when you fire it up. We are really excited to get people in there and just kind of hear what they think about it, because I think we've demonstrated like two key areas of this style. I don't want to give anything really specific away, but you know, the exploration area, the challenging kind of level area,
well, and hang on, because I know you're setting the table for people and I love you for that, but I was honestly asking you as like your colleague. Remind me again, what's your talk to me business. we're gonna release some teasers on Twitter.
Bad. Yes.
No, it's okay. It was good because people might not know, but we're going to release some teasers on Twitter. And then what's our, give them the straight plan. If they're here behind the scenes with us, they'll, spoiler alert, you're going to get a link sometime and you'll get to play this game.
Yeah. Totally. No, okay. I got you. Sorry.
No.
Starting today,
good, brother.
Starting today, we're going to put up the first official tweet that kind of goes into, introduces this as a product. I've got a couple cool screenshots, so I'll show you guys a couple examples. and I kind of wanted to grab a couple more because now that the full thing is like done, there's a few more things that are available. So I might grab one of like, you know, one of the laser rooms, like with the little monsters coming out.
Yeah.
You can see like everything that can happen and try to catch it all in one moment.
Well, and I know Kyle was telling us yesterday he was gonna get a vertical and a horizontal video of some kind that we could use. That's step two.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to put up the screenshot and introduce it. First driver over to the foundersforge.io website, because that email collection is going to be the source for us sending the play link out to the people with early access. You want early access, you got to sign up on the website.
Cool.
Also in that email, I'll get to that in a second. Second tweet is a little clip of gameplay. So these are the videos he's going to put together, a vertical version and a horizontal version. Just kind of wanted to do like a little teeny teaser to show us like a couple cool moments, maybe a few seconds of like navigating the laser, a few seconds of picking up something, whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
Put that
little
together.
teeny teaser.
Little teeny teaser.
It's my nickname.
Yeah, there's got to be a roast in there I can come up with, but you beat me to it.
Mack was uncharacteristically quiet when I said
I was like, how do I fucking wreck out this? Okay, anyway.
So then also another driver just to get people to sign up and kind of let everyone know like when the MVP is going to drop maybe. Thought it could be cool to that can be retweeted from multiple platforms. We could either do a driver, but the one thing that I'm the most excited about to start advertising or talking about specifically is that like with this MVP, we want people's feedback, but I think the best way to get people through it, get them to play it, why not make it a competition?
Totally.
So Kaio is adding a timer, a sign-in kind of thing, so you can like put in a name, and then at the end there will like the times will go into a leaderboard. We also will get some pretty insightful game analytics just from GDevelop from hosting on the platform, so that'll be really nice. Retention, kind of like YouTube analytics. So
and you're basically thinking that once that goes out, like once that ships, and once we've sent the screenshots, the clips, that more or less that's when we'll send the email. So you're thinking we're still thinking it's going to happen sometime this week, probably.
That's my goal. Yeah, I'm thinking screenshot today, videos tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Wednesday, and then I would be prepared to send out the link on Friday. And then I figured, you know, if we have the leaderboard is like up and running, we can do early access and do like the first run through, like whoever's first by the end of the weekend from the early access people. Cool, because then obviously, you know, before too long, we want to make the entire play link public for everyone to get in and start doing, and then, you know, maintaining a little leaderboard and all that stuff.
You need early access for an MVP though.
I just figured it would be a cool way to kind of like set the stage and get the first group in there, because we do have people that signed up for updates on the website, and that's been up for a little bit right now.
So we send them an email.
Yep.
Okay.
Fire off a big one, because I've got the disclaimer post, which kind of details like what is an MVP and like what's
right. Don't flame us if it's not totally.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also details like what is subject to change, which is literally everything.
Also, we should all make Tic Tacs about it.
Yeah. I haven't posted a video in a hot minute.
Me too.
Is there not an AI solution that we can do and just give them a bunch of clips and videos and say, "Hey, make a hype video for this"?
Probably.
Actually, we have what's his name? Kaio has Envato Elements, and they have a bunch of video templates that I think.
Oh. Well, shit.
So we could do that, and we could use the music that we already got.
Night driving. I agree.
Yeah.
Alex, what help do you need with that? Because I know you're trying to take a week and like be a little less on.
I know I'm doing a shit job at that.
I know you are.
Yeah, I have a few like phone calls and stuff to do. I have to make a metric buttload of doctor's appointments.
Listen, man, I can really handle the posting of the screenshot, especially since Kaio, I think, is generating all those assets. I'm going to just ping him right now in the situation room and say, hey, I'm going to handle posting these.
Okay, that'd be great.
At me. Yeah, dude. Don't fret about it.
This week as well.
Okay. In that case, I will, when we wrap here, I will get the Rose Holman reply sent off. Get that started. And do we have a time that at least the three of us could sit down with them in the next?
I can be flexible.
How long?
Not tomorrow, but other than that, I should be all right.
Okay. we could do either like well, I guess it'll depend on what their availability is. I have no idea what kind of class schedule they're on. So I'll just ask them maybe for some time slots, because I think we're probably more flexible than they are.
Yeah, I have nothing really going on.
Okay.
That's time. I can't do Saturday, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
I have no interest in doing the weekend. Saturday is going to be big rescue day, and Sunday's like my day off. So I'll be, yeah, don't worry. If anything, I mean, I have no problem pushing it to next week. I don't think they would expect that they are already starting team meetings like tomorrow after sending us the email an hour ago, so.
Yeah.
No, but I would love to be the organization that students are talking about. Wow, our founders are already, working with us. They reached out to us.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be.
That would be good for us with the university.
Yeah. Dude, the biggest. Yeah, I would so much rather have like a university or more than one university and a bunch of students who are interested in like getting experience with us, and like have that be the reputation and have that be just like what we do, way more than like just getting in with one VC who like pulls a morning star on us or something like that. So rip.
Okay, so then Evan, you're gonna take care of tweeting.
I'm tagging Mihir to see if he can do Instagram and Pinterest.
Mihir just went to bed, but he did text me right before he signed off that he is going to.
I mean, if Kyle's making these things, then I can easily throw that up on Instagram. That's fine, as long as all the bases are covered.
Okay,
I'll tag you both.
Can we touch on the Instagram thing? Because that is one thing I specifically set aside time for myself this week to generate some stuff that we can start posting. And I know Mihir's got at least the Instagram and the Pinterest.
Yeah.
But I really want to get a couple of these like one pagers done, like some pro tips, and start the Founders Forge kind of content drip.
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah. What do you need from us?
Honestly, just help posting. I'll make the stuff. I've got a bunch of shit ready to go, AI automated. And then the thing that Mihir and I were going to talk about this morning, but he couldn't see us in the VC for some reason, so we'll try again tomorrow, is just getting Canva templates for stuff. And then honestly, all of us are on that same Canva team. Evan, I don't know if you're in there, but if you're not, we need to get you in there.
You're talking about on Faceless Crypto Core, that one?
Yeah.
I use that all the time.
Okay. Is that the one? Do you have access to Mihir? Mihir has a specific team, and that's where like all the corrupted stuff lives. Do you have access to that one?
I can check right now. Hang on.
Otherwise, as long as all of us are in there and we put some Canva templates up with Kaio's Founders Forge graphics and then a few deliberate text boxes and stuff, then we can just kind of cycle through those things. For Instagram or Pinterest, there's so much more savable content-wise, than like the funny cartoon. The cartoons are funny, and they didn't get no views, which is cool for an account with no followers, at least from the beginning. But these just seem better. Plus, I'm seeing a lot of this stuff just rip on Instagram right now, so it's worth it. All right. And there's a public upset right now. I don't know if you guys have seen this on AI Twitter, because I'm getting deeper into AI Twitter, but everyone and their grandmother, how whenever a new AI tool comes out and everyone's just like, ChatGPT is dead because X, and it's like all this stuff. Right now it's Bard.
Yeah,
and
I've been seeing that too.
Oh my God. Every other post is a ChatGPT sucks, Bard is here to rule the world. And then it's like, it's all people just saying it's connected to the internet, which, don't get me wrong, is really cool. But I don't know if you guys have messed with Bard at all. I'm very...
I wasn't impressed at all. The first question I asked it was like, yeah, I'm not prepared to answer this for you. I was like, well, fuck you. I'm going back to you.
I haven't tested it with the stuff that people have said recently. Yeah. But when I've played around with it, I prefer GPT.
I've noticed that it's really good, or it's fun. I shouldn't say really good. It's no worse than ChatGPT on like outlining. If you can give it a lot of parameters, like for a blog post or for an article or something, I get really good outlines that way. Or like to-do lists, like, hey, if I wanted to do this, how would you recommend starting? That's nice. And I do love the import to a Google Doc right from there. But what's very annoying is that I can't add to an existing Google Doc. Tiny feature, but it's a fresh document every time, which I know Mack would love, but everyone else would probably like to keep some things a little bit consolidated.
Sure. Well, and the cool thing is, that you can access more information in real time. To me, that's the real selling point.
But again, if ChatGPT connects to the internet, Bard dies again, which is not a good position to be in. I feel like they're constantly trying to catch up.
It's got to be time. I was seeing that plugins are coming out too. Like you can use chat.
They're already out. Yeah.
Did you guys see the letter from the Googler who was saying, and Google AI, OpenAI, we're all fucked because the open source movement is outpacing all of us.
Yeah.
And he was urging the companies to go totally open source because it would at least allow them to be like an innovation leader. I thought that was really interesting. And, Sam Altman, I think, is testifying right now before Congress. That's like on my list today. I want to watch him.
Yeah.
See what he says.
I'm not going to lie. I don't have high hopes for Congress asking him anything insightful, but
no,
I'm very curious to hear him speak for sure.
We need a fucking forest fire, dude.
Dude, this is the only thing I want to say about this. For those watching ever, we have a bad habit of like, I wouldn't call it a bad habit. We have a habit of getting a little bit philosophical during these things sometimes, and you never know when you're just going to start a 30-minute tangent into the meaning of life.
You know what it is? Dude, you touched on it. We all just have such a strong verve for life, just we really like to squeeze the juice out of it. And I thought it's interesting actually, because the people around me are used to it by now, but when they first meet me, they're like, whoa, like I'll rage out on something and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
But you guys are equally passionate about this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I would not want to have, like, Evan, you met my aunt-in-law, like Amber's aunts or whatever, and I was telling Alex that they are like breeding Frenchies, and I was like, I don't want to put Alex in the same room with those people because it's gonna go south, he's just gonna start talking a bunch of shit, run the rescue, So I think we all have something that we're all just deeply tied to emotionally, and it's good. You guys make me feel normal, so thanks.
Yeah, it's good
absolutely.
It gives me a lot of ammunition the next time a pair of Jehovah's Witnesses knock on my front door, and I'm just like, I've been waiting for you guys. I'm ready. Like I've had a couple of those moments, and Christina doesn't believe them, but we have this Ring doorbell. And I'm like, you can go on and you can watch. The whole thing is recorded. She's like, oh God, she like cherry picks something. Dude, they're just the sound bites that I generate during Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
They come
to
my door.
I'm actually waiting for some too. I would welcome some Mormons at this point. I mean, I don't want to spend an hour of my time doing bullshit that's not going to go anywhere, but I do come up with questions throughout the day or week where I'm like, how do they even defend that? How do they defend that logically, historically,
It's cathartic. I did look at it as a waste of time, but it's also kind of therapeutic in a way because
it's like I can watch TV and relax, or I can talk to these Mormons.
Oh no, I love it. I have some that bike around. A lot of them come to Memphis. Mormons, JWs, even like other like Christian groups that are just like straight up evangelical Christian. They'll come to Memphis and do like a service project from Alabama or something.
Dude, it's fair game.
So
if they knock on my door, it's fair game. You can say whatever you want.
They don't knock on my door a lot, but I'm always out walking the dogs.
Yeah.
And I've got a sign on my head, man. Whether you need money, whether you want to pray for somebody, whatever it is, you come to me if you see me. And it's just great. I love it. I have some
I wonder
if
they talk to each other and like, don't go to that one. That's the mean vegan.
Well, dude, so the first time I had
he's a liberal and he owns 6 guns. He's a complete wild card.
You don't know what you're gonna get. Dude, no shit. Okay, Mack, you would have loved this, and I so desperately wish, like, if I had a genie, one of my wishes, I'd be really tempted to ask for this picture because it would be that good. I had a pair of Trump supporters knock on my door, like, back during the election.
Yeah.
And I answered the door wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt with a fucking gun on my hip. And watching their head just, like, short, like, it was like watching a seizure in real time.
I can't imagine.
And then I had him on my porch for 30 straight minutes, and all they wanted to do was escape. And it was like you had no idea which direction it was going to go. It was the most alive I've felt in years.
Yeah, you were probably wearing bird dogs, and your mustache was probably glamorous. And they were like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
That's so true. When we did that little personality analysis thing, yours was like I forget what the term was, but it was just like somebody who likes to argue with people a lot.
I think you were the analyst, or the debater, or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was the debater. I think it was, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was on a boat a couple weekends ago, and we went to this like sandbar, and there was this island, and it was like there was a bunch of black people partying, and then right next to them there was old white people with a shanty boat with a big flag that said Trump won. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go over there and make some friends, or I'm gonna just start talking shit to these people. And I ended up just talking to the other people, the partying people, but man, I was so tempted to just like get into it, but I just couldn't do it.
We have a very like diverse community in kind of Southeast Georgia, and Savannah is sort of this weird like wall where like really rural Georgia meets kind of people from Atlanta and sort of this whole area. So you have the art schools, you have people from all over the world are like centralized in Savannah, so you get some really weird like interactions and stuff. And we also have this party on Tybee every year called Orange Crush, which is insane. If you've ever just Google Orange Crush, it's nuts.
I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's huge. The island shuts down. So many people show up. It's a massive party. I mean, dude, the SWAT team just like lives in their trucks that whole time. It's nuts. And this year there was like some big threat because, of course, it's an event heavily populated by Black people, and we have these rural Georgians that get very angry about them having a party on Tybee, even though it explodes the Tybee economy like more than anything. It's a tiny island, little shops, like restaurants, lines out the door, whatever. It's a huge thing every year. It's like a national holiday. But I've just listening to like these old people like in kind of this neighborhood out here just like bitch and complain about it. It's just like, do you have anything better to do with your time than just be really mad that young people are having fun because you're miserable? But I started this whole tangent about how we weren't going to get on a tangent.
Yes, I know. Here we are.
The fact that pickled my brain the other day that me and Christina are still like, there's no way that's right, but I think it's right. Someone check my math, but Joe Biden was born closer to Abraham Lincoln's presidency than his own.
Wow.
It's like 76 and a quarter years after Lincoln's last day and 78 and a quarter years before his first day.
That man's old.
And it was just like,
my boy Joey B is getting on in the years.
I saw a YouTube clip of a 1940s or 50s television show where they had a guy on who had witnessed the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. And it was like a brain melting moment. Like, here's me in 2023 watching this guy in 1940 who saw Abraham Lincoln get killed and is talking about it.
That's what Christina said. She's like, there's no way that's right. And I'm like, it's because you have this irrational belief in your head that Abraham Lincoln was president in like the 1500s. She's like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, like, listen, America really, truly, if you want to get down to it, is only if the average person can expect a 80 to 90 year life, it's like 3 generations. That's it. That's exactly right.
Joe Rogan has that in one of his stand-ups. It's like, you can't say that we know anything about anything. We're 3 people old.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. All right. So
we're a toddler.
So do we have anything else that we got to talk about as we look at the rest of the week? I feel like that mostly covers. Oh, you got one more.
Yeah, the game we're going to be launching then, we'll say by Friday. Do we want to do it on Friday?
I think that's a good mark. Unless Kyle says he's got more stuff to go. But I just pinged him and
Someone
he said...
needs to stop that man, because otherwise he's just going to build RuneScape or something and,
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, and he's getting to the teaser after lunch. So I think Friday is probably...
Friday's good. Okay. Yeah. And then we should incentivize them too. Maybe we give money to the people who, top 3 prizes who do the fastest.
I want to do some juicy prizes for the leaderboard, and then I figured that would be kind of a fun way to get people to sign up too. If we have like an early access leaderboard, they get a few days with it.
Yeah.
And we can do, the first round at the top of the private access leaderboard, and then we can open it up to everyone and do another kind of big push to get people in there and stuff.
Do we want to publicize it at the show? Huh? Sorry, go ahead. We can publicize it at the show on Friday. We can talk about it, highlight it. The link is live. Go play, win a prize.
True. Do we want to, okay, so we tell people to sign up at foundersforge.io. That's the normal thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can mention it. I'll switch up the website too once we get a little preview and do we want to how do we want to get feedback from people? Maybe we should draft up a Google Doc.
I think inside the game there's a click and tell us. Right.
But what questions does that ask? Because I saw that but I didn't click it.
I'm not sure.
I didn't either.
I would honestly encourage, just because we know how engagement works on Twitter. I would encourage public feedback in the comments from the we're live tweet. I think that would
be, but I would like the opportunity to
have it more sortable. Would be
yeah.
Same.
Hold on, this is about to start making noise, but I want to click that link.
Yeah, go ahead. Hang on. Go ahead. Click it and tell us, and maybe even share your screen if you want.
Yeah, all this does is it's a little slider. It says, how do you feel about this game's visuals, sound, fun, ease of use?
Now that is helpful, but I'd like them to be able to give.
There's a message too. You can make a message.
Okay. There's a free type. Is it character limited, or is it? Can you write?
It's an open essay. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a character limit.
Okay, so maybe we can ask them for feedback in the comments below, in the game itself, or click this Google form. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know much about asking people for feedback.
No, just my personal opinion.
That isn't like one place.
Yeah, I would rather, if there's an onboard thing, I would send it there / comment to us on Twitter. I think driving to another Google form at the same time is just too annoying. It's too much.
Yeah, what about in the email that we send? Hey, the video, the game is live. If you maybe just to have it, just like, hey, if you want to add any feedback, did you like it? Did you not like it? Was it fun?
Sure.
Yourself playing hours and hours of this.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's the real question here is like, is somebody going to play? Because obviously this is an MVP and this is a computer. So if we had it on the phone, it might be different. But like, would somebody realistically want to play hours and hours of that style of game?
I mean, yeah, in its current iteration, obviously it's hard to say just because it's prototype level right now. But
would you recommend this to somebody else? Yeah.
I just asked Kaio too if we can adjust that form, if there's any flexibility.
Well, here's what I was thinking too, because Evan, have you seen the other games that Kaio has done?
No.
He made some really cool games, mobile games, and they were not like this at all. They were more kind of like brain games. Okay. And he made this thing where it starts out small and it gets bigger and bigger. But basically what it is there's tiles that you click and they're different colors. And so it goes bing, bong, bing. And then you have to type it in as the computer did it. So it's like Simon says, bing, bong, bing. And then the next one, it'll go bing, bong, bing, bing, and then rotate. So your spatial memory of what happened is rotated 90 degrees. Mm-hmm. So you're like, wait, what did it do? Bing, bong, bing, bing, and it just gets harder and harder. So it's like a really good brain teaser. But what I was thinking is, this doesn't have to be if we get feedback from this game that people say, okay, I liked it, but it was, I don't know if I'd really play this long time, or maybe I don't like it. That doesn't necessarily means that game isn't the vessel. You know what I mean? We could come up with a different game and still have it kind of be, because I really think that there's something to say that we can make people think more like AIs so that we train them to use it in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you missed this yesterday in the meeting, but we talked a lot about getting feedback and what the game looks like, specifically how we incorporate the educational goal, and kind of the general flavor was using puzzles or in-game things, incorporating stuff that game sounds like into the gameplay, or pivoting entirely and saying, here's a website where you can go play all these different mini games if that's what people want. If they don't want a game that's like an adventure storyline game, we might just do mini games. The point we arrived at though was that's what we need the feedback for.
Yeah. I do think that there's something to be said that's going to be really fun about the idea of like training models. If you can do that with time and there's some kind of thing where you have to efficiently manage how you train, I think that could be pretty cool. It's kind of like an Age of Empires. If you play Age of Empires and you do it competitively, it's all about how fast you harvest the wood, farm the crops, build your army, because the other person's doing that at the exact same time as you. And that has been pretty effective.
Neil is right what he says here. Net Promoter Score is the most effective and most frequently used question for marketers. Would you recommend this product to someone else? If we could only ask one question. But Kaio says, oh no, he hasn't responded yet. Never mind. I've got a message out to Kaio, and we'll let you know what he says about if we can change that form at all.
Cool.
And where it goes.
Okay.
We can do that in the chat.
The only TFM thing is that I wanted to say real quick is just that obviously the drawings happen on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep the Twitter thread alive all week, and today I'm going to go through and just pick a few people. So Evan, I'm going to send the first couple retweets of comments that I pull out of there, and then I'll reward a few commenters.
I'm going to retweet one right now.
Yeah. Do you know if there's any, like, you know how on TikTok when you're hearing about like frequency of posting, you know, that they say, like, you know, give it 45 minutes to an hour before you post another video or something like that, like, you know, or
sure, whatever
the current influencers are saying. Do you know if there's anything like that on Twitter? Like, is there anything about, you know, like tweeting 2, 3, 4 times like right in a row? Or
no? In fact, the most I would say a lot of people who have high follower rates, high engagement rates, they're tweeting all day, all the time. And there's some metrics about like a retweet gets less original views than an original tweet or whatever. But the best practices I routinely see are you cannot tweet too much.
Yeah,
it's more about, you know, who follows you, how they engage, what kind of tweet you do, than it is about frequency. Frequency is not a bad thing.
Okay.
Maybe they've changed it. They've got the algorithm out there, but that's what I've always heard. Okay, I'm retweeting one right now.
Sweet.
All right, so I think that's the basic layout for marketing for the game.
Yeah. And then regarding the Mac, I know you said this before, so I think that I agree, and I don't know if it's too early to start, but I would say potentially not, because obviously I know we still need to finish illustration for the book. But I'm pretty firmly, I think, in the camp that marketing that story and that book is like the way to go, at least to get the Forge out there, to get the Spark out there, you know. And I think because we have total freedom to market a book however you, especially this book. And I would say just like let Michael do Michael things with it.
Yeah, and my suggestion, I don't know if we talked about this, Mac, but I was talking to Alex about it. I think we should do the exact same thing we did with the game in terms of we've got some promo cover images. And Neil, I'm glad you're here because I actually wanted to talk to you about this really quick. Neil, thank you for joining us. There's a couple of images you did a while ago for your Good Morning, Good Night, and they were black and they had white scratched outlined characters. I commented on one of them and tagged Kyle. I think it was like people in a park with trees and then a night sky, a lot of depth of field, very simple lines. And I think some of them had black, then white lines, and then yellow. I know we played a little. I would love to feature your work and borrow 5 minutes of your time to get you to generate an image in that style for this book. And I'll send you the text and you can just, you know, whatever stands out to you. One of the things we want to do, I think we should promote it that way, throw some covers up, maybe put 1 or 2 of them on the website, ask people for what kind of cover do you like, and then invite people to do their own art. I want to make the announcement that this text, we're going to publish this book. We're going to make it easy for you to buy it. You don't have to print it yourself. But we're also going to make the text CC0. And if a line stands out to you or you see it in your head, we want you to do it and make that part of the marketing for it. Is like anyone, anywhere can use this book in any form to create derivatives, to create art for it. We will highlight and promote it and maybe crowdsource some of the art for it together. But I would love, as a way to just, you know, put a name with a face and say, we've written a book. Kyle did one. Alex did one. I would love for you to do one too. So let me know. That was a very simple prompt. Hit me up. Okay, I'm gonna send you a message with the story. You're such a G, Neil. Such a G.
I was in a bookstore yesterday in Chicago, a really nice one, and I was in the kids' book section, and I took a lot of time in there looking at that. So I feel like I have a pretty good gauge for what makes a good one. You know, you just you're like, man, I want to read that, and that's
yeah. Really, I don't think it needs to be literal either. I think it was wrong on that before. I think it just needs to make you say, what is this? I want to read it.
I got to say, though, it's going to be tricky if we have some kind of image that doesn't reflect the artwork within. Because
I agree.
The ones that I saw were exactly the style that you could expect of the illustrated book within.
I think we can massage that message, and then when it hits the shelves, hopefully we'll have had time. I mean, you know, we're not going to put a book out in print unless we have a cohesive art direction. That's I don't want to change that. I want to give an incredible package to people that just begs them to open it and turn.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm super into a couple of the generations that I've gotten lately with like, cover potential.
Unless we do the whole thing with AI art.
I'd be cool with that too.
Give Kyle a pass.
But in terms of like, the
unique story.
This generation that Neil did is very much. I was very much envisioning. First of all, the world is huge. The hero is small. Scale is a big part of what I envision for the visual intrigue of this book. The other is like contrast between darkness and light. And I loved the everything is dark, dark, dark. Everything is light, light, light. There's a million things in the picture you can look at, and then there's like gold. And then in the vibrant sections, their color is introduced, almost like the Lorax. Starts off murky, gray, purple, and then it's like truffula trees everywhere. It looks like starburst on the page, and then it goes back to the world as it is. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of visions, and I feel like it's one of those things I want to see more. Because when I see a children's book on the shelf and it does something, or I see Neil generate a piece and I'm like, that's it, then it's, and I would love for people in our community to have a hand in saying like, yeah, Evan told me that was exactly what he saw when I drew this picture, and now they're going to put it in the book or something. I don't know, I don't know that it necessarily will look like a collage where it's like a little girl's picture and Pablo Picasso's picture and you turn the page and it's all of it. I think it'll be cohesive. But I'd like to get input and feedback and make people feel like it's their story too. I think that will help us tell the story to more people and sell a book to more people.
I mean, at first I was definitely in the camp of, no, it's got to be all done up and packaged before it can go out there. But that's just kind of how I am typically with everything. Like I have a hard time like presenting things that are unfinished to people. But Christina literally read the full text just in a DM from Evan on Discord and was like in tears at the end of it. So I think it can get across without necessarily needing, the entire thing. I think the AI idea is really cool. I want to see if I can get in this style more stuff. And I know that Midjourney's next thing is supposed to be like able for you to like replicate scenes and settings and characters more easily. Which is their biggest pain point right now that people like Scenario are definitely passing them on, So that'd be really cool.
What else do we got that we gotta hit? I feel like we've hit all this stuff that's gonna take us mostly to Thursday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Real quick though, what are your thoughts on the AI thing, Evan?
Oh, for the book?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
I'm totally in favor of it. My big thing is I don't care if AI draws the whole thing. I want for it to be a cohesive visual, I want to do whatever's best for the story. Yeah. I feel the same way about the text. If you came to me one day and were like, I generated this whole new section for the book with GPT, I'd be like, and it was great and it made the story better, I would say, absolutely, let's do it. I feel that way about the art, about the design. Right now, I feel like I'm just chasing a vision in my head, and most of it has to do with layout.
I have a random question, Evan.
But I like it. Go ahead. Because I'm just rambling.
I don't know if
my short answer is yes, I'm okay with it.
Okay, interesting.
My inclination is that I don't like this. But
you don't like using AI?
No. Sorry, not that. What if okay, this is quarter baked at best. Each scene, each page, whatever, if something was generated by AI, I would kind of want to lean into that as an idea and not, try to pull off like a thing where it's not like readily available or widely known, like, no, this is an AI generation thing, but like really lean into how cool that is or how it worked and use it also as like a little bit of a moment.
Right.
What if each scene, each page, each whatever was unique in that sense? And then you could even have like, so this was really helpful. Lisa, I was talking to her the other day about the Happy Meal concept for a book. Because she works with a lot of kids books, and Christina has said this too, because obviously she goes through, I think the last time Christina bought kids books, she bought like literally 75 in one sitting. But the Happy Meal idea, that you get something with it. And it can be, there's so many options for what that can be. There's no like threshold for what it needs to be. So her things were like a faceless, like a TFM mask that gets cut out at the back, a calendar, a puzzle, a redemption code to something, even as simple as Evan, like a, you know, what did this mean to you? Like a goal sheet kind of thing. Like, you know, how does this, you know, what do you want to do with this story kind of thing? A coloring page, something printed that you would need to shine a black light on it, a claimable NFT with a QR code or something like that. And it could be really cool to include with that, like a list of the prompts that were used for each of the pages and how these like specific design elements went into the theme of the story, and then how we embellish or how we handed it to Midjourney or whatever to get this image. Kind of lean into that. Could be kind of a cool way to do it. And plus then we could get the illustration like relatively easily. It would be very cool to have like a page that is generated by Neil. I'm going to throw you on the spot there. You know, that he could feel very strongly about and have his own little bit about. Like we could each do one, that kind of stuff. You know, I think that could potentially be a really cool way to.
Yeah, there's a few different ways we could go with it, because if it were generated by AI, chances are that each page would look a lot different. Mm-hmm. And if we put that into some of the pages, because the text doesn't talk about the technology, it doesn't talk about blockchain, it doesn't talk about AI. So we would need to represent that at some point, I think, in the images.
I agree.
And then I guess we could do either a community-driven one. I don't know if we have the volume for that, or we could do it in a way that, you know, we're just coming up with the pages. If they're all Neil quality, you know, Neil level images, then that could look pretty fucking sick, because he's got it down.
What would be most interesting to me, again, the most important thing for me is that somehow, visually, thematically, the package tells another dimension of the story. Like you say, that the images complement the narrative to achieve some deeper understanding of what it means to rise up, of what the tech does. For example, if every time you read it online in ebook format, it automatically showed you another person. Like, let's say we had 1 million people as part of a campaign generate images for every part of the book, a prompt per page kind of thing. And when you went to read it, you got a random one. So you see Gary V's interpretation of page 1, you see Neil's interpretation of page 2. To me, even if they looked visually very different, and even if some of them sucked, you would get like this cohesive vision of, look at all these people contributing to this book. They're a community. They're rising up together. You don't have to say that. You just get that message by reading it in that format. I think for a published like hard copy version, I feel like we have to be more intentional about how we curate it to make sure that the images speak to each other in a way that is cohesive like that. So I guess that's why I want to do this CC0 thing, and why I want to bring people's input, because one way to do the creation is you have a vision and you're going to make it happen. The other way is you invite people to participate and allow the discovery, the process to surprise you, and you pick out what you like, you know, you allow it to inform your choices. I don't think we need to publish a physical hard copy book until later. And I think this will help us publish a better physical hard copy book. And I think it'll be a lot of fun for people in the meantime. And Alex, your idea about Happy Meal, I love that. A lot of giveaways.
When you say later, what does that mean to you?
When there's a Kickstarter and they can contribute and we give them a date. Because to me, here's the thing about physical books. The most important thing with physical books is capturing the volume of sales and putting them through all at once so we can hit a top seller, bestseller list. And the way that works is, you know, if you get pre-orders for a book and everybody gives you $10, you buy the physical books at one time later. Helps you reduce your per unit cost. It helps you capture the volume in one time for bestseller lists. To me, that's the most important thing about the physical book.
Yeah.
I like what Neil says to it. Choose your own art book is cool. Or even I don't know, maybe we could train a model that is an image generator, or just like a Midjourney clone that exists with the text of the book. If you walk to the edge of the end of the day, it's quite a long distance and far, far away. Generate image. Add context. Generate image.
Just for the record, I've tried that as a concept before, and you have to add more stuff. You get real unhinged shit. if you go that direction. Because I was trying to do a thing for a week where every single tweet that I posted, I just took the tweet text and copied it in. Dude, there was absolutely no rhyme or reason to what came out of it. It was insane.
No, I don't think that would be helpful. It's because it's not helpful for an AI. There's no context there. There are no parameters.
But you can take that as a line item in a prompt crafted to give you what you want, and then add the influence of that word, and you could get some pretty neat stuff.
I was just thinking of it like that's the prompt for the human, who would then give AI a prompt that I imagine a dark sunset at the top of the world from the perspective of Mount Fuji or whatever.
All right, well, let's start trying to generate some images then, because I do think there would need to be some kind of continuity, maybe a kid in each one. Maybe not every single image, but some kind of thing that lets you know that that's the character, and then the different backgrounds, and then we can just kind of see what we can come up with. And maybe it feels interested in helping.
I want to release the text to people. That, to me, that's step one, is we release these covers and say, here are some covers we've spawned because we're doing this book. You should get excited about it because we want your feedback and input. Here's the text of this book. This is your assignment. And then we should model the assignment for people by saying, we took the text and we generated these images.
I don't know if I love that. That's kind of like giving it all away.
I think that's great. The more you give it away and incentivize people to share it, the more, here's the thing. No. People will buy the package because they want the book on their shelf and because it's nice to read your kids at bedtime. And they want to see the curated finished version. And it's more likely, I think, that someone will buy it if they get a chance to read this 3-minute story, which I feel is good and which they will love. It's a lot harder to get people to buy something that they're not sure if they're going to love. And especially a story, the reason you buy a book is so that, because you don't want to pull it up on your phone when you're reading to your kid in bed. I have so many stories that I know by heart, but I buy the physical book.
I wouldn't buy it if I read
it in my life.
I don't think I would buy it if I read the thing in full and maybe even got an image along with it too. Like I would maybe share it with my kid, but I think that part of the joy of buying books, like I love buying books, and part of the joy is discovering what's in that book.
Have you ever bought a book you've read before? Just to own it?
How would I have read it had I not purchased it?
At the library, you read an audiobook. You've never. I think you are in the minority there. I have read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius many times before I got my own copy. I bought my own copy because I thought I love this book. Same thing with I Love You Forever. Most of Dr. Seuss's books, I lost my childhood copy. I still have a copy as an adult because I picked them up and bought them. They were important to me. I wanted them in my life.
I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely a little wary, but I also don't have any data to influence my opinion one way or the other with regards to like that leading into a sale or not. But I will say just anecdotally, including kid experience with Jordan and others, if they like something and they know all about it, that doesn't stop them from wanting to get it and have it.
But I don't think we're selling to kids with this book. We're selling to parents.
We're selling to kids through parents.
Yeah. When you're selling a kid's book, if the kid isn't into it, then who gives a shit?
Kids don't, kids are like, once they turn 7, then they just want phones.
Have you ever gone shopping with a kid?
No.
It's an eye-opening experience.
Do they want books? Does your 9-year-old want like books?
Jordan is a terrible example because from the time that he could breathe, he had a screen in front of him so that no one had to pay attention to him or anything. He's a horrible example for all that. But
yeah, and I think for those kids, we sell them an ebook that I have narrated, that Kyle has added sound effects to, that is fun and interactive in some way. Putting the text just out there is not going to discourage people from buying an experience.
I think it does. I don't think so. I really do, because it's the whole.
If you put the script to Harry Potter online, do you think it would keep people from going to see the movie? Well, like Harry walks into the Gryffindor common room and says to Hermione, "What?"
I will say, just for the record, both of you right now are arguing an opinion, which isn't going to end anywhere because neither one of you has data to suggest that your case is correct, unless you're just purposely not sharing the data. And two, I will say, again, anecdotally, that even though Jordan hates reading, I literally have a chart on my fridge that says, I will pay him for 30 minutes of reading. If he gets a sticker on the chart if he reads a book for 30 minutes. to get him off of a screen. Even that doesn't do it. But if you put that kid in Barnes & Noble with Christina, and you don't get him the books he's asking for, he acts like it's the end of the world. Like he has to get books.
But again, I don't think he would buy. I think the genre of book that we have is too young for him. It pretty much stops at like.
I don't think so.
10, I'd say.
My sister, who's a teacher, said that she felt like it was older than I thought. She really thinks it's for 7 to 12-year-olds. She said, I don't think a kid is really going to get the full. Yeah, absolutely. And my sister's no slouch when it comes to teaching. She's legit.
That's the impression that Christina gave as well.
That especially where her thing was, there's a lot of language that they will learn through context, and that younger kids, especially paired with illustrations, will not be able to have as robust a discussion as somebody who is older will about what does it really mean to you to rise up?
I don't know. I think when I was in 6th and 7th grade, I wasn't reading illustrated books. I was reading Harry Potter like a big boy.
The world is in a different place.
Like a big boy. I'm the biggest boy you know, and I read bedtime stories all the time, man.
I don't know any. Dude, there's no way. There's just no way that 5th and 6th.
Yeah, and there's this book called I Love You Forever that I return to.
Book. That's like a Dr. Seuss book. There's no way.
Dr. Seuss is beloved by people of all ages, man.
Okay. Yes.
Because of the nostalgia thing, the two of you are anecdotally arguing right now.
Okay, stop saying that. We're still talking about it.
Like I'm just saying that you're both convinced that you're right. This is you guys.
I'm not convinced I'm right, but I am unconvinced by his argument. I have a lot of data that informs my opinion. Oh, The Places You'll Go is a best-selling book, and many people buy it for people who are graduating high school or college, achieving a milestone at a job.
Nothing to do with this. I agree with that.
I think it's very much like our book. I would say, after an analysis of the text, that the two are quite similar.
I mean, yeah, of course, if we become, one of the best-selling book franchises of all time, then people will buy it a lot, of course. Yeah, that's like saying...
But people don't buy it because it sells well. They buy it because the message resonates with them. And this book is written in such a way. I'm not, attempting to say I'm some, Dr. Seuss guy, but it is a well-written book that is meant intentionally to appeal to people who are young and young at heart. People who, wherever they are in life's journey, have discovered or are discovering or need encouragement about the hero inside of them. Neil says, for what it's worth, that he thinks it's a high bar too, buying a kid's book they've already read because it is so good. Let me ask you this, Neil. If you read it because you read the text, black and white on a page, but it wasn't really an experience, maybe you liked the story, but you didn't hear me read it. There's an ebook. You didn't see Kaio's illustrations of like little animations, or somebody you had a reason to get the physical book or a reason to engage with the other copy beyond the text. That's the whole thing I'm advocating for, is that the text is the smallest part of the story. It's the foundation, but I feel like there is so much more that can be experienced, whether it's in a movie, on the page,
but if you're
AR.
if you're so big on the experience, why would we want to neuter that for somebody without the actual visual representation?
It doesn't neuter it. It makes it bigger. The story of Harry Potter is bigger because it is a book, because it is a movie, because it is a video game, because it is a theme park, because you can experience it all those different ways. The story is bigger. By making it CC0 or giving people an opportunity to shape it in many directions, it will make every other part of that story potentially bigger. If people love it.
I don't think that. I mean, that's so loosely related to Harry Potter because that's a novel. There's
Harry Potter is a story. It is an idea. But it is an idea, and people experience it in a video game. They've experienced it
with NFTs,
and action figures, and all that.
We would sell as much if we showed everyone what the NFTs were before they were minted.
If all they were was a picture, a JPEG. You're talking about specifically Founders Forge, or you're talking about NFTs generally?
Any NFT collection. You think that if we showed them what it looks like before they minted it, you think that we would mint as much if we compared to if we really...
I can give you 3 examples from real life where that happened. Invisible Friends, example number 1. It was the first NFT on Ethereum that incorporated motion. People saw it, It blew their fucking minds. That's how they sold so many. And then there was that 3D one that was basically like the same concept, like a walking guy, but now he's 3 fucking D. And that is how they sold millions and millions of dollars of NFTs.
They can understand the concept, of course. I'm not saying to have no previews. I still want to do previews with this, but I think that if we give them everything in there,
it's not everything.
The whole enchilada.
It's not everything.
It's the entire story, of course.
It's the text of the story.
What's more important to you, the story, the text of the story, or the images of the story? Do you think that Rise Up would be half as good if we just had a different storyline, like if I wrote it or if Evan or if Alex wrote it? Do you think it would be nearly as good? To be honest.
I mean, I don't think it would be the same. I don't know if it would be better or worse. I don't think it would be the same.
Be as good because the real cream of the story is the words, and the art. I don't
disagree.
Could be great, but I think that people buy with children's books. I don't know. I guess it could go either way, but I just feel like I don't know, giving it all away like that. It's just. It's like a musician that has a new album coming out. And so he says, okay, guys, listen to my songs, for free. And then he tries to sell them. And they're like, okay, well, we've already heard this. You know what I mean? I don't know if I really need to buy it. I've heard it.
Let me ask you this, though. Here's another one that there's some data for, but an anecdotal example will make more sense. Have you ever seen an article on Twitter that sounded really interesting? And when you clicked it, it was behind a paywall. And how did you feel emotionally?
Probably wouldn't buy it.
Probably wouldn't buy it. Versus there is a publication that you absolutely love that has never put any of their articles behind a paywall and they're all bangers. Which one, if one of them said today, hey, we'd like 99 cents from you, which one are you going to support first?
Probably neither because they gave it away for free.
You got to pick one. There's a gun to your head. One of them is a publication that has provided you value again and again and again. And the other one has given you a frustrating emotional experience and not necessarily any value. It's a leading question, but I guess if they support the one over the other
again and again, but we haven't gotten there yet.
But what I'm saying is, especially because we haven't got there yet, because people don't know us, we need to go out of our way to give them as much value as possible to incentivize them. It's selling. I want you to say yes to me and say yes to me and hear me say yes to you a couple of times so that when I make the ask, what do? You say yes. It's easy. We've shared value together. And I think putting immediately out of the gate a valuable experience behind a paywall when people have no context for who we are, that my goal for this is no less than everybody in the English speaking world and eventually the Japanese and Chinese. I want people to love this story because everybody can see themselves in this story.
Here's I guess what
we should let them share it and get them to read it.
I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but I just want you to be prepared for a potential world where if we give away the whole story and then it comes time to sell it, they say, nah, I already heard the story.
I won't see it as a loss. If I would rather have everyone on earth read the story and never pay me for it than have all of us make $10 million because we sold, I don't know, to me,
that's where we disagree then.
But there is no world where having people pay to get it absolutely disincentivizes some people from getting it. In a world where more people can get it, more people will want the next thing because the only place you can get a story like that is right here. And it is more valuable to me that people know that and care about that than it is that I got $10 from some guy sometime. You see what I mean? Do you still disagree?
I think that there's just a lot of what ifs in there. It's like because this is under the guise that everyone in the world is going to read this book, and that's not necessarily true. And if we can,
but it's logical that more people will read it if there's a higher incentive to share it. If they're not disincentivized from reading it by paying for it.
Those courses and things that you sign up for. Yes, free ones are good because you can upsell off of them, but there are also something to be said where, you ticket an event because you want people to actually care about it.
Sure.
You want people to actually show up. And I feel like if it's free, people might not value it as much.
There's a lot of research that supports that.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
What about flipping the order? What if you were to, publish it as we intend it to be consumed and then CC0 the text like after some time.
I mean, I could be in favor of that. I guess I'd want to explore the idea a little more because
for the record, I have nothing against CC0.
And I have nothing against making people pay for it. My ultimate goal, like I say, is what will help us. First, I want as many people as possible to experience the story. I want it to be a critical and commercial success for us. And to me, what's really important for that is that the story is great, the package is cohesive, and that when we go to sell it, we do it strategically so that more people at one time will buy it and we hit the bestseller list kind of thing, or have the best chance to do that.
For the record, to me, granted, I haven't sold books before, but I've sold a lot of different stuff. And I think that the way that looks is events where we control the narrative and you read the book. And so they're there for an experience and then they sign up for the physical copy.
I agree. And while we're doing that, we're reaching out to bookstores to say, yeah, or libraries or whatever.
Right. That I'm totally cool with. But if it's something where we're just like sending out the text, like, here's the book, let us know when you're ready to buy the real thing. I think that that's going to be flaccid.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's a tandem approach. I think we should talk about it more with Michael, and I need to do more research about the best way to capture sales, whether it's Amazon, whether it's, our own website. Yeah. I need to do more research on that.
So for the record, I am the sales guy here. So I've done millions of dollars in sales from a lot of different shit. And that's not necessarily, I'm not saying that I know everything, but I'm saying that I've spent a lot of time researching it, reading books, finding out the psychology of people and what they do and think before they buy. And that's why I'm saying this. So it may seem anecdotal. It may seem like I don't have data, but I have spent many years of my life doing this.
Well, I value your opinion.
That's all, because I think we all want the same thing here. But I think that if we do it in a strategic way, like we were just talking about, I think we can kill two birds with one stone. We get the story out there. We make sure a lot of people hear it. It's free to attend and give them the experience. But then we also say, this is the way you can have this experience and do it for your own kid, something like that.
Yeah, I value your opinion, and I'm glad we're discussing it because I care a lot about your credentials, but it's so important to be strategic, as you say.
I agree.
Yeah. A couple of things. I've been trying to find any data that I could look at with regards to any of this, and I'm not finding anything. But there's
about what specifically?
A couple
like CC0?
Yeah, I'm trying to find specifically like anything that suggests the like longevity of something released as CC0 post CC0 release.
We're kind of out in the frontier here anyways.
No, for sure.
AI,
So instead I'm trying to like draw a comparison to something. So if I put this in Steinway piano terms, basically what I hear Mack saying is that there's a giant difference. Like no one would ever purchase a Steinway, or I shouldn't say no one. Very few people, I believe, would ever purchase one if they couldn't ever play on one. But Steinway isn't putting pianos on the street corner all over the place and just letting them exist out there for everyone to come. But anyone can walk into the showroom and sit down and plink away on the Steinway and then get the full experience and then do it. So to me, that is Evan reading the story somewhere versus whatever. Yeah. Very different experience.
Yeah.
The data or the stuff here, I also asked both Bard and ChatGPT for the record, which is interesting, has provided because they both answered it almost identically, which is interesting. When querying Bard about current data in this subject, it basically tells me there is no relevant data to support either side of this. However, here's a few things to keep in mind. Typically, the use of CC0 is more and less effective in certain circumstances. If your audience is generally regarded as being tiny and niche, then there's a lot to say that CC0 is a terrible idea. If your audience is supposed to be broad and huge and all-encompassing, it's not necessarily a bad idea. The only data I can find on either side of this is that publishers are typically hesitant to involve themselves with text that is CC0.
I can believe that.
So if we were going to go the route in that light, then it may be different. Now, I think that we would face a little bit different if it was CC0, but we are the ones who made it that way and that Evan is the one who wrote it and we could support that, they may feel differently about it. But also just because there is the potential for someone who is much more established and has a platform and all this kind of stuff to co-opt it. And I know, Evan, how you feel about that as a phenomenon, the idea that someone massive would care enough about the story to like try to pretend that it's their own or whatever.
Well, I would see it as a win because they couldn't pretend it's their own. Establishing it as CC0 under my name lets everyone share it and everyone knows it's mine.
Right.
That would be a win in my book. If Stephen King was like, I'm going to publish this motherfucker, I'd be like, go for it.
But my only point in support of, I guess, where I see Mack coming from right now is that if we were in the position where we could comfortably not want this sale soon, then it would be a very different question, because then I would say, yes, that something like this is very much in line with the ethos of CC0 text as I understand it. I don't know that we're in that position. And if this is like the spark of the entire project right now, just knowing how we feel about making something an NFT sale versus complementing existing products and services with tokens, then I don't know that I really love it. But I would be in much more support of having the initial release of it be, Evan, your reading, your presentation of it, the version that we want first represented to the world. And I think that you can make that kind of open-ended. Yeah. You know, I think you can encourage community participation in the creation of the art and the presentation, and then do that later and allow other people to take and adapt the story that way. You know, I don't know. Could you partial CC0 it? Could you like do the first page?
No, CC0 is an irrevocable decision. When you do it, it's done.
No, not that, but could you just only allow for like half the book to be that way?
Honestly, I don't know.
Because it could be.
I think we can give it a restricted license. Like we can license it as restricted and then open it up. We can say you can use it for these purposes.
Here's something to think about though too. If we shop this book with publishers, then we wouldn't necessarily need to worry about trying to sell it, because that would basically be their job. That would get us on bookstores. We would not be CC0, but we could potentially make a lot more money with it.
But the tough part is we also could potentially make a lot less money. It would take a lot more sales for us to make money. And I love you guys and I would want to support you, but it would be really hard for me to, I would need a lawyer to tell me. It would be really hard for me to give up primary authorship. I love us and I want it to be a Faceless Labs book, but it would be really hard for me to say, like, I did not write this thing. Faceless Labs wrote it. Not because I need the ego, but because that to me is the most valuable thing.
How is that?
Because a publisher is going to make a deal with me. They're not going to make a deal with Faceless Labs. I want everyone to get paid. I'm not talking about that. I want everyone to get paid for it. But the publisher might also say, okay, great. We're going to promote it. Your take is 10% of every book sold. And they're talking to me. That's who they're making the deal with. They're going to say, here's an illustrator we would like you to work with. We're going to front the money for them. We're going to handle all the royalties, all the collections. We're going to own the text for this long. Faceless Labs would probably not be able to do as much as a partner to publish. It would be Random House. And Faceless Labs could share it. They'd be like, look what Evan did, or whatever. But they're going to have a lot of creative control. I would not be opposed to it, especially, again, if it could be good for all of us. Like if it could really help us at the end of the day make more money, I'd want to do it. But it would be tough to structure a deal between Faceless Labs and a publisher that way. I think. That's honestly, again, something I don't know enough about, but my research has revealed that.
You might be right, but I don't know if that's necessarily something that should kill it dead in the water.
Okay. Well, let me add it to my list, because I can make it. I'm doing this research anyway to figure out if you're publishing a book yourself, what are the best places to do it to hit a top list or bestseller list. And I can look up just literary agents, publishers, because that would be the first step, is probably getting a literary agent. You can pitch to publishers yourself, but anybody who's worth their salt is almost certainly going to have an agent to do it.
Right.
So let me look into those two things. Agents, publishers.
Them you can share the whole script with.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be protected. And they'll be able to, maybe I'll share it with an agent and they'll be like, listen, man. Maybe it'll be like the Charles Dickens story, and he'll have to go to 50 different authors and they'll all turn him down. And
the
the Tim Ferriss story,
Ooh,
This
look
sucks.
at that, Alex. Where do we have the story? Is that pinned in? There it is. Okay.
I think you pinned it somewhere.
It's in the Peter Hardly Know Her chat. Have you given any more thought to adding a little stanza about learning and crafting a skill so that it's
and my I don't know if you saw it. Did you see my response to that?
I thought it was.
I will do anything that is in service of the story. At this particular time, I am not so inspired by and I will sit down and dedicate some time to try. My inclination is it's something we can illustrate, but if you have text, if I think of text and it serves the story, then I have no problem putting it in. I imagine it's less about like she picked up a hoe and grabbed a computer. I think it's going to be more like whatever I wrote there, which is like she learned some things she thought they were cool, some things that they didn't teach her about in school.
That kind of. That's
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
very abstract.
Just a little bit of like a montage page, basically.
Yeah, no, and I can dedicate some time to that.
Even
that
Rocky had a montage.
Even Rocky had a montage. Yeah, but basically, I think we can do it with visuals. Is my first inclination. I will spend some time thinking about text that can accomplish it and support it. And see what I can come up with.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. I like that plan because I think that once we get that covered down, then we really can hit the road with marketing this.
Yeah, Neil, I'm going to send you this so that you can maybe give us a little cover or something. But I say we market it with the cover, market it with events, talk to people about it more.
Did you ever read the story of how Tim Ferriss marketed the 4-hour work week?
Yeah, I read it a long time ago, but I honestly don't remember it.
I don't really remember much of it either, but I remember it being pretty.
Him and the other one I was bookmarking for myself is Ryan Holiday did a lot of that. He hired Ryan Holiday to do his after
really?
Ryan Holiday had done.
I'm reading
a couple
Ryan Holiday's book right now, actually.
Are you?
Destiny. Yeah. One thing that Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about, he's like, people make fun of my book because it's not, very well written or it's dry. And it's like, well, it's not about, what do they call them? Best-selling authors, right? It's a matter about how you sell the book, not necessarily
about how you wrote it.
Create writing authors. So if we can get creative, we can come up with ways to use our audiences and our, maybe it's time to bring back the wheelbarrow full of cash idea burning. We got to use that at some point in our future.
I know, man. I'm so ready for a wheelbarrow. I want it to be a suitcase, though. I want it to be a suitcase. And I want to stand it
some great quantity of cash aflame, basically.
Okay, I got to be honest with you. My tank is a little empty, and I feel like I can go do a recap video. But I also, have you been taking notes? Do you know what you're gonna say?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I don't know if we
good about it.
We can.
I feel like if we can stick to the script, do a high level thing, we can end this one, get in there, and get out in less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You want to do it?
Badly.
Yeah, you go. I think that's like our business is set for now. I know what I'm doing this week. I'm going to help Alex post that stuff. Neil, I love you. I'm glad you made all those comments. I'm going to send you a DM. We're going to hop out of this one, and then we're going to immediately hop into another one where we do like a 15-minute version for people who don't have this kind of bandwidth. It's like, yeah. Mack is like, kill me softly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Cool. Everybody go pee. What a great way to end our live stream. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next Monday with another Startup Stand Up. Bye for now, friends. Rise up.